Hello, I'm IBX and today I'm going to be giving you some class advice for the FAD in Call of Duty Ghosts. So this series is a series where I talk about class because half of Call of Duty is, playing well, and the other half is being prepared for the gunfight, and half of, being prepared is having the best class to optimize your gun. So the FAD is a returning weapon from Modern Warfare 3. It's one of only, I believe, 4 weapons returned from a previous Call of Duty game with its actual name intact. And what makes this gun particularly notable is that it has a fast fire rate, it has moderate recoil, and has low damage per bullet, but because of the fast fire rate, it does a higher damage per second than other weapons, meaning it's deadly in the right hands, basically. And all those attributes were toned down a little bit for this game, but they are still prevalent, and it is still one of the better assault rifles if you can use it well. So basically, this assault rifle dominates at close range compared to other assault rifles. You'll even win gunfights against SMGs and shotguns if you prepare well enough. So it really is a pretty deadly up-close weapon. At medium range, it does pretty averagely. I'd say above average personally. I enjoyed it at medium range, and at long range it does suffer a tiny bit. So that's how this weapon works basically. It's an SMG assault rifle hybrid, if you have to label it like that. So all I like to do with this weapon is I like to optimize it for long range, so it does just cover everything, and I can be ready for any gunfight. Because although part of Call of Duty is preparing gunfights that work for your weapon, if you can just face anything, that means you can focus on the other things, and that's what I did with this build, and it did all right this game. So first of all, attachments, what you want to be using to, maximize that range. First of all, you want to put a red dot on there. So the iron sights are really, really usable on this weapon. Most assault rifle iron sights aren't that great, but I find that on the FAD, they were pretty usable, especially at the ranges you want to use it. However, because I did want to extend that range, putting the red dot on means at long range you can, bounce the recoil a little bit, because you have to fire in little bursts if you want to kill people at long range, so you really need red dot to ensure you're doing that as fast as possible. You don't want to get shot back or anything, and that's why I chose that. If you don't want to go with red dot, then the second attachment that will help you at long range is the muzzle brake. So I don't know how strong the muzzle brake actually is. It might be a mostly placebo thing that's only 5 or 10%. But regardless, right now it feels like it does a tiny bit more damage at long range. So muzzle brake is just a strong attachment for long range. If you do decide that one of those attachments isn't good for you, then the third attachment is extended mags, which gives you 63 bullets. It's overkill and completely unnecessary, but you can go with it anyway. So to summarize, basically attachments aren't needed. You can pull on whatever you want and you'll still be really effective with this gun. You can even put on silencer and extended mags, and then you'd have a ridiculous stealth build. There's lots and lots of cool possibilities with the FAD because it does have the ridiculous ammo capacity and the ridiculous fire rate. So second thing you want to worry about is secondary. So again, with the FAD, you don't really need a secondary. I believe with this build I went with Kimbo Pistol secondary. I since have changed that and would just recommend putting on Gambler, or saving up for another perk. It just doesn't really work out for me. This gun does really well at close range. You don't really need a Kimbo Pistols, unlike some of the other assault rifles. So yeah, save your secondary slot or put a launcher there if you like using launchers, but that's your own personal preference. Anyway, so perks, they're the third and kind of important part of this build after lethals and tacticals, but they're kind of interchangeable, and I really haven't developed a good one of those yet. So basically perks. So there's a lot of good perks here. So again, I went with the long range thing, except kind of not as much as with the other stuff. This is more just stuff that helps you out and kind of gives you that tiny advantage. So first of all, Stalker. It's a 3-point perk, and it really, really helped me out. I found with this weapon anyway, because at close range it does dominate at the hip fire, but if you want to put 4 bullets on straight away, being able to just peek around the corner and while your sights are up and just shoot on 4 times instantly, it's a really satisfying feeling. It's nearly shotgun level of ridiculous. So Stalker's ridiculously handy for close range, and it also really helps you out at long range, because if you're in a gunfight with someone at long range and they've got better assault rifle that's managed for it, if you are just strafe left and right, you can really throw off their aim and maybe recoil them away from you and just completely mess them up. So it's really, really useful for gunfights and most ranges. Quick draw would be better if you're just going for a close range, mid range build, but if you want a long range thing, then Stalker's a pretty good one. Or you can just mess around with the other perks. Stalker and quick draw aren't necessary, they're just really nice in my opinion. Sleight of hand is again one of those other not really necessary ones, because it does have 42 in a clip. I'd recommend putting on extended mags if you find yourself needing to reload in a hurry, because then you can literally just not need to reload for every, I don't know, maybe 5-6 kills. So yeah, how often are you relieving that alive, unless you have a 5 KD, that is. So finally, other perks that are useful. Gambler is one that I've really enjoyed and started to enjoy with the FAD, because you can get most of the perks you get are above 1 point, so you can end up with incog, you can end up with sit rep, and it just makes the build that tiny bit better. So yeah, that's what I recommend as far as just, you know, bonus things. And finally, just to throw in a couple more ones in there, Steady Aim is a 2-point perk that really works well with this one. Ready Up is a handy one if you do decide to have a launch secondary. And let's quickly just talk about Amplify, because that's one I would recommend also on this one, because Amplify is really handy for close range, because you need a close range weapon to actually deal with the person that you hear at close range. Having Amplify in the FAD, again, just the close range power really helps you out when killing those people. So Amplify or Dead Silence, you can really take your pick. They're both pretty good perks in that regard. So yeah, they're the perks I'd recommend. And as far as Lethal and Tactical goes, I've already said that, and I've covered attachments and secondary. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope I've helped you using the FAD. I really would recommend you give it a shot rather than just avoid the stigma if it's got moderate recoil, so stay away from it, because it is a ridiculously good gun that covers you at most ranges. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video, please like it or share it and stuff, because this is a series I really enjoy and hopefully helps you out. I've been doing it for lots of other weapons, so you can check the playlist, the link will be in the description and / or on screen. Thanks for watching the video, and goodbye.